Good morning, everyone. It's 8 o'clock now. I'm just allowing other folks into the meeting here, and then we'll get started. We got about 65 people here that's in attendance, and we're adding every second here. So we'll get a few more on, and we'll kick off. Michelle, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna have you introduce yourself here in just a minute. Give it just a couple more minutes here to admit the last remaining folks.
Primary bill. I've got us muted and, okay, and I'll.
People are still jumping on here by the fives and tens, so we're gonna keep just hold off just another minute. All right, it's 8:02. We're gonna I'll keep admitting folks as we talk. So if you see me get interrupted, it's because I'm balancing three screens. So welcome, good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name's Sean. I'm the state fire marshal. We got about 80 people joining us this morning. So I really appreciate your time, especially on 8 o'clock on Friday morning. I think our goal is to get information out the best we can as soon as we can, even though it seems like we're late to the game. We're really not. Um, and then we have decided to record this to make it available for everyone. And if we find that we need subsequent meetings to answer questions, we certainly will. The overall arching concern of this NERIS transition is not a lot of information and the speed at which information is coming out. And that's been concerning both to my office, uh, to state fire marshals across the state of Maine, across the country, I should say, um, but also to you folks that depend on reporting every single day to keep your shops in order and record your information. So we just wanted to give a basic overview of where we're at here in the state of Maine and what to expect and try to answer some of the high level questions. And I want to be right up front and honest with folks that we don't have all the answers to all the questions. We are working on this every single day, 40 hours a week. Sometimes two or three of us are working to a time on it. And this has just been a catastrophe rollout, from the federal government, in my opinion. The state fire marshals were first brought into the conversation back in February, and we didn't even have a product to review or test until the middle of August. So we're talking 2 months ago. Even with that in August, the state of Maine uses image trend, and image trend is what we refer to as MEFRS as the records management system. So even though NERES may have been somewhat ready and it wasn't complete in August, uh, that now requires our records management system, image trend, to jump on board and start developing software that integrates with NERES. And to be honest with you, as of today, that software is still not ready to go. So I'm just going to walk you through a few steps, but the first thing I want to do, again, my name's Sean. I notice I recognize a large portion of the names here. I'd like Michelle just to introduce herself first. Michelle?
Thank you, Chief. I'm Michelle Mason Weber. I'm recently back after a 5-year absence as a senior planning and research analyst. I'm working with conjunction with Richard Taylor, who is working on a consultant basis until the end of December. And my focus is to get the NERIS system up and running. And Richard is handling any requests for older data out of the NFIRS system, because the NFIRS system is shutting down permanently at the end of December. And so if you want older data out of the NFIRS system, Richard is handling that, and I'm handling the transition to NERIS. And I've spoken with several of you already on this process, and I look forward to getting everyone up and running.
Thank you so much, Michelle. So, to summarize, Michelle is leading our team in this nearest transition, and she's done a wonderful job. Michelle was employed in the fire marshal's office during the original transition to image trend. So, a wealth of knowledge and certainly there to help us. Richard, can you just briefly introduce yourself as well?
Yes, I'm Richard Taylor. I'm with the Fire Marshal's office, obviously. As a consultant now, I actually live over in New Hampshire, so I'm coming to you from the White Mountains. As Michelle pointed out, I know I see Kevin DeRoss here. I've been giving people back data, as I call it, or data they won't be able to get otherwise after the beginning of February. I think NFIRS will stay online for that month. But after that, if you have back data, for instance, if you started using image trend in 2015, you wouldn't have the data before that time available to you. But I can get it for you, or I can help you get it for yourself. But the best way to go is, as I mentioned, Kevin DeRoss. I got him a whole bunch of data, and I've been getting it for others. It's a somewhat of a laborious process because I can only get 1 year's worth of data in a text file format that you can use at a time. So it's please get a hold of me and let me know if you want that, so I can get you on the list and start moving it for you. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Richard. One of my other team members that's on here is Deputy Chief Joel Davis. Joel, can you just introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. It's Joel. I'm here to learn a little bit more about this new system myself. So I'm back after a few year absence and glad to see everybody.
All right, thank you. And Joel is our Deputy Chief in charge of investigations. It's joined us this morning. So we welcome him back to the Fire Marshal's office along with Michelle. And we congratulate Richard on their retirement. So let's dig into this stuff here. I'm going to share my screen real briefly. Well, that would be the wrong screen. All right. Can folks, what are folks looking at? Are they looking at a blank screen here? Or are they looking at Mira's screen?
NERIS. Oh, now we're looking at me first.
Okay, perfect. So we're looking at the right screen. Okay, so the first thing I want to answer for questions is what is NERIS? And NERIS is the National Emergency Response Information System. It is replacing NFIRS. So NFIRS was the national database that stored fire data. The NFIRS has been in existence for 40 years. It's a long time. It hasn't changed a whole lot, and it hasn't moved into the 21st century in terms of its ability to capture information, specifically in real time. So in 20, when did the NERIS process officially start? Apparently, it started in October of 2021. So this was a long time ago that the National Fire Administration started to put this together. But one thing you're gonna note here is the first prototype was launched in March of 2024, which was obviously last year. And then the state fire marshals never even were brought into the conversation or shown that beta prototype until February of this year. So it's been in works a long time, but it wasn't communicated well with the states or those, again, fire marshal agencies that were essentially overseeing data in the states. So what we're trying to do here is give people a basic understanding that NERIS is the new national data collection agency. And there's been some confusion because folks have reached out directly to fire departments and said, hey, let's report, let's onboard. And some fire departments have had the perception that, hey, look, this is our new system that we're going to go to and we're going to report, and it's fairly easy and whatnot. And I do want to caution folks and fire chiefs out there that NERIS is not, this is the big takeaway for today. NERIS is not a records management system, meaning what you put into it, while it will give you some analytics, at face value, you can't take information backwards from NERIS and utilize it to do your own studies and whatnot. So you still need a records management system to communicate with NERIS if you're going to save, house, and maintain your data, which you're required to do. So NERIS is a national database. Image Trend, or MEFRS, is a records management system. And the goal here is to get our current records management system, MEFRS, to report to NERIS automatically. So when you go in and you interact with MEFRS, which is this program right here that you're probably all familiar with, and don't mind my we're going to dive into this here in just a few minutes. But we want to get MEFRS to report to NERIS, and that's the goal. So as far as timelines go, Michelle should have sent last week, and you should have received an email, an onboarding email that looks like this right here, basically advising departments that, hey, here's a heads up, you're going to get a email from NERIS that requests that you onboard with them, and here's how to do it. So the onboarding process is specifically outlined in this NERIS user guide once you receive that email. Now, how did FRSI receive your information? And that information came directly from the state fire marshal's office to NERIS, and then NERIS essentially is supposed to be sending you folks that email. So this guidance document that Michelle sent out describes what you do when you get the email. How do you add users? What does the interface look like? You need to set up a station. You need to set up some trucks. There's a few things that we'll kind of jump into, but the first thing you need to do is access NERIS and add admin users. That's the very, very, very first thing you need to do. But this user guide is incredibly helpful in getting through the initial phase. The other email or attachment that Michelle sent was specifically an integration enrollment. So once you're into NERIS, and I'll show you that in just a second, we need to make sure that NERIS and our records management system, MEFRS, can integrate. So in order to do that integration, there is a step-by-step guide that was provided, as well as some additional information. And part of that integration enrollment is the client ID number, which Michelle included in that heads up email. So basically the first step of where we are today is the fire chiefs across the state should have received an email, a heads up email from Michelle. And secondly, they should have received an email by now from NERIS asking to simply onboard. So I have pulled up my account in NERIS. So let's assume that I have gone through that email chain, I've communicated with NERIS, and now I'm onboarded. So I can see this is my account. My department or my membership is the Office of the State Fire Marshal. We're going to get there in just a second, but this tab right here is incredibly important. So who are my admin users for my particular department? So I can invite, I can add, and I can inactivate, or I can activate. Again, that guide contains most of the information. So under my account here, you can see I have a NERIS ID, which is new. Once I have my station, and I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to hit the edit button. And you can see as I go down through this, I need to fill out a street address. I need to select a location on the map if it already isn't done. I need to fill out some jurisdictions, and most departments in their NERIS portal is going to have a spot for stations down here. Okay, I don't have a spot for stations down here just because I'm not a fire department. So this very simple information to fill out, hit submit. You can edit your logo here. You can add your website, and your authority should be here as a fire department. So I just kind of want to back up just 1 second and show what NERIS is at a glance going to give you for information. So this is the state's portal, of course, so it's going to look a little different than yours, but here's about my agency. And then here are some insights that your department will be able to capture once your records management system pushes incidents to NERIS. So my view, as I look at it, which will be different from your view, can see all of the fire departments reporting across the state. So we have all these interactive fields here in NERIS in real time to provide us with information about our specific jurisdiction. It's helpful, it's beneficial, and it gives you kind of a real time look into what incidents are occurring. You can see that there are 2 departments in the state right now that are reporting to NERIS. They were selected as part of the prototype departments here in the state to beta test it, which is great. The fire marshal's office admittedly had no say or selection in those departments. It was straight from the federal government, right to the departments at hand, which at this point in time, I guess, is okay. So you can see that it offers some additional analytics, and my view again is the entire state. And I can see which departments are onboarding, which departments are not onboarding, which departments are unverified, and you can see right off the bat that the GSI information is not accurate. So that's something that we're going to have to work on as well. So that just gives you kind of some high level, what is NERIS and what are we going to be able to do here. If I jump back to my account, okay. One other tab that I wanted to show you quickly was the enrollments tab. And this is where you're going to drop in that client ID that Michelle provided you in that email address. So you can see that here I'm integrated at this point in time with ImageTrend. So that's kind of a very, 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 very high level. The first step is the emails. Really the first step is log in and watch the quick start video after you've logged in, set up your department profile. We've got some station and resources tabs to fill out in there. We're going to help you pick the incident start date, and then we're going to link the RMS. Michelle, jump in.
And I just wanted to, there was a question in the chat and I responded, but I'll just want to tell people too. If you're using a third-party RMS system, they should have their own client ID number provided or available to you. So you can ask them for their client ID number and you will paste that client ID number into your account. So the data will flow from your RMS system into NERIS.
That is absolutely great, and thank you for bringing up the fact I can't see the chat on my screens. So just if you monitor that for me, that'd be fantastic. So we're going to send you this PDF document as well. And again, these have wonderful. NERIS has done a good job after the state fire marshals got together and beat them up. I got to be honest, but so they've changed their tune a little bit. But this offers some interactive links straight directly to videos that are helpful.
Select memberships. Select edit next to the
in the onboarding portion. And again, if you click on each of these barcodes, it will bring you to a separate video that will help you navigate that particular onboarding. So between the resources that Michelle sent, between this PDF that we're going to send you today, and between the videos here, you should be in pretty good shape just to log into NERIS, set up a few of the small features that will help interact with our records management system. I just want to stop there for a moment before I keep going. Michelle, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Just FYI, Brad Strout from Orono is waiting to get in.
Okay. I should have. I can see him in here, so hopefully
Okay.
that I fixed that. Does anybody have any questions? I know this is very quick and very very vague. I think one of them would probably be timeline. What we're asking you to do is to get in, log in into NERIS, put in some basic information today. The other item that may affect your department is if you have a CAD integration from dispatch. We had sent out, I believe there's 36 departments in the state that have CAD integration. We had sent them separate emails to put in tickets, excuse me, through ImageTrend to work on CAD integration. So if you weren't part of that email chain and you're aware that you have a CAD or dispatch integration, it would be incredibly important just to reach out to Michelle and she'll forward you some directions on how to submit a ticket through ImageTrend to help start that CAD integration. The other thing that we need to do, well, actually, I want to pause and just answer any questions if I can on what we've talked about already. Michelle, do we have any questions in the chat?
I'm responding to Ben Wallace. Do we need to add our full roster to NERIS if we're using me first? And I'll just respond to everybody. My understanding from my discussions with our contact at Image Trend is that once this API connection is set up between MEFRS and NERIS, MEFRS is going to push your information about your vehicles and about your people up to NERIS. So the source of the best data will be coming from MEFRS. That's my understanding from.
Yeah, that is correct, Michelle. So the only users that you'll need to add into NERES is the administrators, the folks that are going to be interacting with the NERES platform um, prior to the API integration from uh, Image Trend. So you're 100% correct. Great question.
Does the same hold true if we are using a third party?
I don't know, Chief. So I'm sorry I can't answer that question. I would assume so. But we have not spent any time on third-party integrations only because we've been so laser focused on Image Trend in serving the 300 departments that use it.
We've done our third-party integration in Auburn and we're reporting, and I didn't do anything in the NERA system to enter my roster at all, other than administrators.
Perfect. So that sounds like the answer right there. The API integration is the similar in third parties. Thank you, Chief Chase. Any other questions so far? Michelle, any in the comments? All right. You're not muted, or you are muted, Michelle.
Sorry. Pete Metcalf, if we already have CAD integration with our dispatch, will anything else need to be done, or is it a seamless transition?
So what we need to do is we need to submit a ticket to Image Trend, just advising them that you have a CAD integration that may need to be set up as it relates to pushing information, receiving information from CAD, and pushing information to NERIS. That's how I understand it. And if there's nothing that needs to be done, at least you've submitted a ticket, because it could take 4 to 6 weeks to analyze the particular situation.
Another question from Ben Wallace. Should I delete the stations or apparatus that I've already added to NERIS?
No. No, and the reason why I want to continue to answer that question with my next segment when I jump into MEFRS, and I'll show you why. I see Bangor has their hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, Chief, I reached out to the director of RCC here in Penobscot County, and they weren't aware of any of this either. Have you sent any information to the dispatch centers at all?
We haven't, because this doesn't necessarily impact the dispatch centers as far as I'm concerned. What it is the integration between the records management system and NERES.
Agreed. They set up the CAD integration for us, so that's what I was saying.
No, okay. Yes. So if they've done the work on the CAD integration, you just need to submit the ticket to Image Trend, and they've got some check boxes in the background that they need to select to make sure that CAD integration comes in and the CAD integration also goes out. And that's how we understand it. So no, we have not pushed any information to the dispatch centers. We're communicating directly with the fire departments, and I don't think it's really our business to get involved in your dispatch center.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep. Anything else, Michelle?
Someone asked, they have to step away. Are you going to share this meeting? So we will be, am I correct, Chief? We will be sending out this recording.
Yep, we'll find a way to share it and record it for sure. Anything else before I jump into MEFRS? All right. Just interrupt me, Michelle, if I need to, if you need to. So I'm going to jump into MEFRS real quick. So I've logged in to Image Trend or MEFRS, which is the system that a majority of fire departments are using here across the state. I need to set up MEFRS to interact with NERIS. And how the fields that I need to fill out are, I would click on my agency, which is up here. I would go to agency information, and you should at this time, and if you don't, please reach out to Michelle, but you should at this time see a bunch of exclamation points in red across the top of your screen. So what you need to fill out is all of the fields that are highlighted in red that are currently going to integrate or be pushed to NERIS through an API connection. And the most important tab to establish, so we've gone into NERIS, we filled that out. Now we need to come into image trend and fill out the NERIS section of the run report. So clicking on this NERIS tab here, you can see that I've got all this red highlighted. I want to identify my department as a cause and origin department. I'm going to call it, maybe I do flood rescue. What are my EMS services that I need to fill out here? My investigation services, fill out my career and all my stats down here, any of my shifts. My time zone is incredibly important. Any fire, what I'm using for fire protocol, just fill out as much of this information as possible. And the most important one is the physical address location of the station. If you need to change where your station is or what you have access to station for, you would come up here into resources and you would simply go to, I think it's facilities. So you would click on, nope, it's not facilities. I take that back.
I think it's agency locations on the left side.
Yep, you're absolutely correct, Michelle. So you'd click on agency locations, and this is how you would set up those stations. So again, jumping back into my agency location, my nearest tab, and I would select my physical locations. I would fill this information out. My service area is going to be defined as, in our case, it's going to be Maine. And then you're more than welcome to choose any of the postal codes that are affiliated with your particular address. I'm not going to fill this out, for me right at this moment. I'm going to jump into Albion's and just show you an actual department that is set up already in here. So Chief Clark has done a pretty good job with including his NERIS ID, the NERIS reporting name, the email, the website, filled out all of his information, put in his national provider identification number. He filled out all of the NERIS tabs that are applicable to his particular organization. And you can see that once this is satisfied, the system here will no longer be highlighted in red. So I just kind of wanted to show you again, Albion, agency information, fill this portion of it out. There was a question about if you've already filled out your stations and whatnot, and I believe so the stations and equipment, my understanding, needs to be entered into NERIS. And then go ahead, Michelle.
I just wanted to let you know that there's similar questions in the chat. When will the nearest tab appear in image trend? I'm in there now and that tab does not appear for my agency. I believe there's a massive update that's happening next Tuesday, and that's where a lot of things are being put into our system. And I think that that is one of the items, but I will make a note to ask the image trend rep when I have my next meeting with him in case it doesn't show up after next Tuesday.
What is the agency that's asking?
It's Sean Mitchell and Brian Whalen of Bath. Sean, I'm not sure if he's with Bath. He's with Brownville and Bath.
Okay, if you guys can just stay on once we conclude this this webinar, I'll actually go in and we'll check your system right here real quick. But I do agree there is a big major push coming on Tuesday that's going to change a lot in our system. Any other questions, Michelle, before I continue?
Nope, they're just listing the various towns that do not have that tab. So there's a bunch of them.
Okay. We'll work with those two that identified real quickly and just see if there's anything in the background of this system at the conclusion of this webinar that I can turn on. If there isn't, then it's coming Tuesday. So it'll happen on Tuesday. So jumping back into why it's important to set up the stations and the apparatus in NERIS first is because when you jump back into our records management system, MEFRS, in this particular tab that I'm sharing on the screen here, resources, agency locations, and this is how I set up my agency locations. You can see that I've got two sections that are highlighted in red. And I can't identify my NERIS station ID or my NERIS station staffing until I have that ID number that's been produced by NERIS. So again, that's part of that API integration where they're going to communicate with one another is set it up first in NERIS and then come back in here and make an adjustment. And anything, I want to be very clear to the fire departments across the state. You know, any concerns or problems that you have with image trend or MEFRS, Michelle is available 40 hours a week and she can help. She can jump in, she can look at your system, and she can help answer some of the questions that you guys may have in this system. The limitation that the state fire marshal has is we cannot access NERIS. We can't. They haven't given us any special powers or any ability to look or jump into your system. And it's an unfortunate set of circumstances, but this, once you're in NERIS, this help desk button is the biggest advocate. You click on this and you talk to somebody at the federal government, and hopefully they'll get back to you in, I don't know, 6 weeks. But I'm sorry, and I promise you that the fire marshals across the country were outraged as a result of this because of our assistance that we've provided to fire departments over the years has been essentially stripped from us. So hopefully that answers that question. So again, I just want to be very clear. We want to come into your agency. We want to select agency information. We want to fill out the red. We want to click on resources. We want to go to agency locations, and we want to fill out the red. We also want to make sure that we're doing this as well. Chief Frost.
Chief, I'm wondering, I just went into ours and we have the NERIS tab, and I'm wondering if Chief Groder in Augusta also does, where we were the 4 that have kind of set ourselves up in NERIS already. So I'm wondering if when you go set yourself up in NERIS, if then the tab will open up.
I think it's on our end,
Okay.
the image trend end. And I think the reason why you guys have it is we specifically asked image trend to work with a few select departments to do some beta testing, which is why I think Image Trend turned it on for you. But
We have it as well in Augusta.
Yeah.
One other quick question, Chief. In Nearest, there's for station ID numbers.
Yep.
It's a pretty long number, but I'm thinking it's the last three numbers that they're looking for to put into Image Trend because it only allows three numbers.
Okay.
So that may be something that people will run into. I tried to cut and paste the nearest ID number from Nearest into Image Trend, and it'll only accept 3 digits.
Okay, well, that's great. That's great information, Chief, because I don't have access to stations, as you can see. Um, that's great information. So the last three is what we may need, and again, we'll communicate that with all the fire departments when we confirm that. So I don't know that I think we've covered most of this of the integration stuff or the API stuff that a local fire chief will need to start to work through to get this process done. As far as timeline goes, I think that's incredibly important to talk about. We are onboarding right now 4 departments: Waterville, Augusta, Scarborough, Albion, a few others in our area that we can literally sit down with, look over their shoulder, and go through this process. We're doing that now. We're expecting that NERIS Image Trend is going to push out a major update to the system as early as next week, and then we're expecting that Image Trend does another push of information sometime in the first 2 weeks of November. In the first 2 weeks of November, the information that Image Trend is integrating includes the apparatus power tools function, as well as the ability to communicate between fire and EMS run sheets. That's incredibly important for fire departments across the state, which is why the fire marshal's office is not working to integrate everyone. We think if you send the current form to your firefighters that doesn't integrate with an EMS form, it doesn't have an apparatus power tools, then that could cause a major problem with your staff, and we don't want to do that. So our go live date when we are going to turn this on for NERES is January 1st. We're not changing that. We're not moving that forward. Yeah, it's January 1st at this point. Those of you with third party integration, you may be onboarded sooner than that, and there's limited support that we can provide with that, unfortunately. A couple other things. Richard and Michelle already talked about it, but basically, the fire marshal's office, if you have data in NFIRS that needs to be captured, we recommend that you reach out to Richard Taylor now, and he will capture that information because NERES is shutting down. NERES is shutting down access to NFIRS on February 1st of 2026.
Chief, can I just pop in with a little statement? And the reason why I'm encouraging departments to contact Richard sooner rather than later is we've been informed by the nearest people that NFIRS is very shaky, and if all of the fire departments across the United States start pounding it for data going in and data coming out, they're actually concerned it may crash sooner rather than later. So I don't want main fire departments to get caught in that mix. So if you can get your request in, and also I've been 5 years out of the loop, and I never learned how to take data out of the data warehouse, which is the current housing system. So I don't have that information. Richard has that knowledge. So I'm going to be working on NERIS, and I do not have time to try to learn a system that is on its last legs. So that's why I'm encouraging people to get their requests into Richard now, so that you have your data, and if NFIRS crashes, you're still in good shape.
I just want to add to that too is you can get information. I can show you how to get information in an Excel spreadsheet form out of the data warehouse. Anyone can do that. What you can't get, unfortunately, and I can't give you permission to get, is that data in a text file. And only I can do that. So, let me know ASAP and I can start working on yours as far back as I need to go. I had one department that I pulled data for all the way back to 1999, 1 year at a time. It was, took a lot of time to do that, but I'm happy to do it because you want that data. If you're happy with an Excel spreadsheet, great. I mean, I think some departments they just want that history there in some form that they can manipulate with a pivot table, what have you. But others want it into their RMS because they didn't start using that RMS until 2015 or so. So they're getting it from 2014 back, or I should say, I'm getting it. I know First Due will only take a text file. I'm not sure about the other RMS systems. I know if I know Image Trim will want a text file too, but I'm not sure about the other systems. You can ask them, but I bet they're going to tell you we're going to need a text file. An Excel spreadsheet isn't going to work.
So I did see, thank you, Richard and Michelle on that. I did see one question in the chat from Chief Hamill. If you're using a third party system, can you onboard now? The answer that we have for you is I don't know. I don't know if your records management system is capable of reporting to NERIS or not. That would be up to you to speak with your third party and integrate with NERIS whenever you're ready to do so. Again, I hate to throw you to the wind, but we just do not have the bandwidth to work with multiple third party folks to try to work through this integration. We got to stay focused on image trend. Going down through, we talked about CAD integration and sending a ticket. We have talked about testing the NERIS fire run form, which I'm going to show you here in just a second. We've talked about receiving information from Richard through NFIRS. The other thing I want to add is about validating reports. So in years past, the fire marshal's office has validated reports for agencies across the state, meaning that the information comes into the records management system. We validate that. We make sure that it's at 100% or near 100%, and then we push that to the federal government. NERIS is automatic. It is an API. The moment you put the run sheet into the records management system, in this case, which is MEFRS, it is automatically going to be pushed to NERIS. There will be no more validation from the fire marshal's office. If you put in incorrect information or information that doesn't satisfy the system, it's going to NERIS without the fire marshal's office input. We hope that our new form has validation rules built into it to prevent some catastrophic errors. But we're going to continually be in there changing it, adjusting it, and making sure that it meets the needs of Maine's fire service across the state. So I just wanted to add that we're not going to be validating reports any longer. Our go live date is January 1st. So again, it's up to the fire chiefs in between now and then to get their work done with NERIS and to get their work done in image trend. And Michelle will be here to support you 100% along the way as it relates to image trend elite and assisting with the various tabs and the various entry. And please do not hesitate to reach out to her for help. I want to just quickly show you what the NERIS form looks like. Again, I'm in, Michelle, can you see that okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. So this is basically your agency will be here. Your incident tab will be here at the top. Right now we have a couple forms available to us. We have because I'm a demo agency, I have the current fire incident form that everybody is using today to report. Then I have an official deploy NERIS form, which come from Image Trend. And what we have done internally over the last couple months is we've created our own near-as version of the form to capture the data that Maine fire departments are used to and need to help with analytics to support growth in the fire service as a whole. So we're working on some +1 codes that are specific to Maine, and we're working on validation rules to make sure that we get the information we need. But this run form is very similar to what you've already are seeing. It's going to be somewhat different in the fact that some of the responses have changed, but all in all, it's very similar to what you're already seeing. So you could almost flip a switch with very limited training. I mean, they will need some, but for the most part, it's all the same information. One of the things that I do want to highlight here is that some of the emerging hazards reporting that we didn't have before are now integrated into this form. So for example, some of our lithium battery fires that we've been seeing across the state and other items are now here built into the photovoltaics, for example, are built into the report. So we can get a better, more accurate picture of the fires that are occurring across the state. There are more tabs here that expand and open depending on what I select for is it a fire, in a construction facility, you can see a fire tab now appears. So there's a lot of good changes here, and there's a lot of cumbersome changes too that we can't avoid. But once folks get into it, we think it will be, it'll be fairly easy to train folks and whatnot. But you can see that today, I don't have some of the stuff that I'm used to, which is I can't use my apparatus power tools. I don't have some of the worksheets that are available to me, and I don't have the ability to move into an EMS report or from a EMS report to a fire report. So that's coming in mid-November. And again, that's because Image Trend and all the other third-party vendors are trying to keep up with NERIS because NERIS is literally being developed along the way. So that's just a basic preview. And then the last thing that I really want to, and we will solicit feedback from the fire service and make changes as we go to our report to make sure that we're capturing the needs of the fire service in Maine. The last thing I wanted to talk about was fire incident pre-planning. One thing we've realized is that State Fire Marshal's office and our Image Trend product has been pretty stagnant for years. It really hasn't offered the flexibility or the add-ons that other third-party products have introduced. And I want to make sure that we're providing the fire service with the tools they need to do their job across the state of Maine. So we're integrating 2 products. One of them's already there, and we're integrating this product The first one is the inspection modules. We want all fire departments across the state to be able to conduct good, solid inspections and have a good documentation process. So that should already be in or available to folks. And if it isn't, again, reach out to Michelle and we'll turn it on. And then the second product that we're offering this year to all fire departments in the state is the one that's on your screen. And it's fire department pre-planning software built for a better response. We want to give firefighters situational awareness. So when they receive that CAD integration, that when they're on the way to the fire, that they can pull up a pre-incident plan that they've completed. I'd like to just share with folks a very short video. Once the video is complete, we'll stop. We'll try to answer any questions and gather any questions that we need to come back on and go from there. I wanted to keep this close to an hour. So, Michelle, can you just make sure that you can hear my sound when I hit play on this video?
Hi guys, James from FMO NERIS here. I'm going to show you just how fast you can pre-plan a structure using the new FMO MSP app. It's available for iOS and Android, phone, tablet, doesn't matter. Whatever you have, you can use it. So I'm standing out front of my Type 3 unprotected ordinary here. Right now it's abandoned, but it used to be a tire discount center. It's a common occurrence in most jurisdictions. You're going to have a structure just like this, and it's going to be something you're going to want to plan. So we're going to have at it right now. I'm going to open up my app, and you're going to see the app already knows where I am because it runs off of my phone's GPS chip. I'm going to hit that plus sign, hit add pre-plan. And all I'm going to do is click on the corners of the structure as I see them. Doesn't have to be exact. I hit save, and now I've already started into the plan process. I can add my business name if I wanted to, but I got my address, city, state, zip code, lot number if I need it. Floors above, there's none. Floors below, there's none. It sits on a slab. So my roof area is 3,900 square feet, and it's 1,300 GPM fire flow, and that's off the National Fire Academy formula. Because I know my fire flow, the platform automatically knows that I need a hydrant, and it's going to select the one right out front here, which will meet that flow demand at 2,000 GPMs. I'm going to hit next, and here's all my drop downs. Occupancy type, business mercantile, construction type, as I mentioned before, is a Type 3 unprotected ordinary. Roof type is a gable. Roof type, roof construction, I know is an open wood truss. Roof material, composition shingles. There is no sprinkler system here. There is no standpipe here. There's no fire alarm, and the population is vacant. If this building was in use, obviously my normal population, I would put that down. My hours of operation, I would mark those down. My owner contact and owner phone, I would mark those down. So you maintain control of your owner contact information. Obviously, there are none for those. Notes option, you could put whatever you want in there. If I knew that door had a gate code, I could put that right in the notes section. If I knew that I had to call a certain person after a certain hour, I would put that down in there. Notes is whatever you want to add. I'm going to hit next. Now I'm under my image tab. I'm going to click that add image button, and it's going to automatically access my camera. Now I'm standing here on the Delta side, so I might as well snag that first. Simply point the camera at an appropriate spot. You hit that shutter button. You hit save, and it's going to start uploading images into that platform. Now I'm going to go around and capture the rest of my structure. As I'm walking, I'm going to be noting different things. I'm going to note the fact that I see my utilities right there. On my out the side, once I got a good shot, snap that shutter, item starts going in. I'm going to continue on around my structure, again, taking mental notes. I'm going to see there used to be a window there. There's no longer there. I see my front door opening, and I got my truss roof marker. I'm coming around down here to my Bravo side. Add photo. Get a good perspective shot. Hit that shutter button. Moving along. Again, walking around my structure, I'm taking notes. I see we got a short parapet there. That could be a truck issue. This used to be a door, is no longer, got bricked up. Those could be openings in the concrete right there, as I see they're concreted over. Looking at my roof, I see we got one opening right there, but that's it, flat roof all the way across. Coming around on my Charlie side, I'm noting that I've got that chimney there. That could be a collapse hazard. I also noticed that this structure is very tight back here. This is going to be all ladders, all ground ladders, no trucks. So now that I'm on my Charlie side, I'm going to get a nice, good perspective shot. And I'm going to hit that shutter. All right, so now my images just got loaded in. So we need to add some notes to these images so we know what we're looking at. Going to my plan, I'm going to go next to that image, I'm going to hit that pencil. Add symbol. I know this is my delta side. Use my finger, move it over, pinch zoom. That's all it takes. I'm going to hit save. Now, there's a whole variety of symbols you can add to these different items. And if you go to the desktop version, you can draw pictures, you can draw lines, you can label things with text, anything like that. Whatever helps you remember this structure and the hazards associated with it. But since we're right here, we're going to add that symbol. And again, these are all the symbols you can use. This is my A side. I'm going to pull that guy out. That's good because I know it's there. There's my utility marker. And I'm going to save that alpha side. Continuing on. It's my Bravo side. We're going to move that guy right there. That looks good. Nice and big so I can see it. Let's save that in. And my Charlie side. Add my symbol. We're going to move it up there. Nice and big. And we're going to save it. Now I'm just going to look back. I'll pull out. I'm going to see that my hydrant's been selected. It's highlighted. All my images are uploaded. Looks like we're good. So as you can tell, I did this in one take. The timestamp on this video shows you exactly how long it takes for you to pre-plan a structure that's very common in your jurisdiction. Away are the days where it takes us 2 hours to pre-plan something. We're doing it now. We're doing it fast so we can get our whole jurisdiction done.
So I just wanted to share with folks that brief 6-minute video, just talking about what we're gonna integrate into Image Trend. This will be available to integrate into the inspection module, and it'll also be available to integrate into the CAD interface, so that when you receive a dispatch, you can now see your pre-plan on the screen and navigate to it. So just a couple things that the fire marshal's office we're trying to improve as it relates to the software that we provide fire departments across the state. It is very expensive on our part to add visual pre-plans to your departments. I believe it's a one-time fee of $500, and then it would be added. They will not add you unless we approve it. And right at this moment in time, we've approved one fire department to start to beta test this, and we expect that in January we'll be able to offer it to all fire departments. So that's another piece of the puzzle that's going to be coming down the road. We just want to make sure that we provide some kind of training to fire departments as it relates to the pre-planning process and what some of the functionality and offers that we can put out for you folks. So that we're onboarding one department as we speak, and we'll be offering it to many others in the coming months. So with that, I'm going to pause. It's 9:03. I've been an hour talking here. I'd like to hear any questions that anybody may have or any information that needs to be brought back to the group. We're happy to do that, and we certainly are going to have another session coming up as well. So Michelle, what do we have for questions in the chat, or do we have anybody that would like to speak?
We have one question from Kevin McAdam. So we will be able to do pre-planning via Flow MSP for a one-time fee of $500.
So that is correct. So the fire marshal's office has purchased the statewide ability for fire departments to have it. If you were to go out and buy it on your own, it would be approximately 15 to 20,000, depending on your the amount of calls that you're going to do, but the state went ahead and invested in that. So the only thing that's a charge to the department at this point in time would be a $500 onboarding fee. And I want to be clear, it was called Flow MSP. Now it is a Image Trend product that was purchased by Image Trend. So it is now integrated into the Image Trend software.
We have another question from Ben Wallace Jr. Will mutual aid have access to our pre-plan?
So the answer is you decide at the end of the day. The only thing that the fire marshal's office is going to require is that you share information with us for the purpose of us conducting investigations and inspections. But you'll be able to go in and you will be able to say, this fire department has access to my information. This fire department has access. The fire marshal's office has access. And even if you grant access per se to your mutual aid companies and your fire department and the fire marshal's office, you can still restrict information as it relates to sensitive facilities. So, for example, if you had a nuclear power plant that you didn't want your responding agencies to have the access codes to it, you could restrict that information from sharing it on an individual basis.
Okay, we have, let's see here. We have, if we hang out after this meeting, will we be able to get the tab in Image Trend? I think we're figuring that out.
Yeah, we're gonna, once the conclusion of the questions, I'll share my screen and then we'll jump in real quick and just see if it's a change we can make on our end.
Another question, where will the inspection modules be located once up and running?
Okay, that's great. I'll share my screen real quick and show you. Can you see Image Trend, Michelle?
Yes.
Okay, so where you would see it today, if we've turned it on for you, is you would see under this incidents tab, you would simply navigate over to the tab called Locations, Occupants, and Inspections. And I just caution folks that jumping around here and poking around is not a bad thing. But with a little bit of training, I can make it a whole lot more user-friendly for folks that are seeing this for the first time. If I jump into this module and I click on the inspections tab and I don't have occupants or locations created, it's going to throw me an error or a concern or problem, and I'm not going to be able to get anywhere. But if we jump into an agency, can't even find my own agency here. So if you jump into an agency like the fire marshal's office where we're currently working to build ours out, I can show you an existing inspection, and I got to clear some fields here. And you can see that this turns into an inspection module. And what we're working on at the fire marshal's office is building out forms for folks, and we're still in process of doing that. But one of them is, for example, like a fireworks inspection. You can see we have our own inspection form specific to fireworks inspections. So this is still under development, but you should have access to a general form that gives you some information on conducting inspections. But I think that's a training program as it relates to inspections is certainly outside the purview of this particular meeting. But just so folks know, it's under locations, or excuse me, if you're used to doing reports, it'll be under your incident tab, and then you just come over here to switch to and locations. Hopefully that answers the question.
Don't see any more questions in chat.
All right. I say Is there anybody else that wants to jump in and ask a question? All right, hopefully this was helpful to everybody. I'm going to jump in and try to answer that other question real quick. You're probably going to look at me, pick around at my screen for a minute, but what was the question, Michelle, that we had?
If we hang out after this meeting, will we be able to get the tab and image?
The tab and image trend. Okay. Give me just a second. What was one of the agencies?
Take a look at my list here. Brownville.
Brownville. Okay, let's look for Brownville. Okay, so we don't have that. Let me just share my screen. Not that it'll benefit anyone, but and I'm also